Hey everybody, JP from BigSexyBeast.com, and I hope everyone's staying safe and following your local guidelines for quarantine. This is the second video that I'm making in a series of videos where I'm using footage from a trip we did in 2017 that we call the Ramble. It's a trip we do every 2 years. And this particular set of footage is a set of footage from the drone and some photos on a trail called Hay Flat, and this is between Rifle, Colorado, and Meeker, and it goes by the Rifle Creek Cow Camp. It looks like they're county roads on the map, and the trail guidebook kind of indicates as much. However, we went through there kind of middle to late summer, and it was crazy muddy and crazy off camber. So it was pretty treacherous. So you get too far off camber in this crazy mud, and you would just slide off. And sometimes sliding off meant really sliding off, and to the point where you thought you might roll a truck or go off a ravine. And so we had a number of spots where we were getting a vehicle stuck and having to do some form of recovery. And at some points it was so slick you could not stand up. And so there's some funny parts of the drone footage. It was a really hard day. It took us, I think we were on the trail basically every hour of daylight and several hours of dark. It was probably a 12 or 14 hour day on the trail, just dealing with recoveries, stuck in the mud, out of the mud, towing, winching, the whole bit. So I hope you enjoy the video, and the voiceover here works for you. Again, just trying to get you some content out while everybody's in quarantine. Anyway, hope you enjoy. So the adventure starts out pretty normal. We think we're just kind of cruising along on a nice little leisurely overland route through the high country, and the scenery really was pretty. Lots of high range cattle. We saw quite a few sheep along the way. What was really cool is that in certain places along the way we actually saw wild horses that were out up in the high country. And so it starts off pretty easy, but then we pretty quickly start to get into the real deal here. This is a Ford Raptor with 35-inch tires, and it cannot manage to get up out of these ruts to go around the rocks, no matter what we try here. This mud was really interesting. It was both really slick, but also crazy tacky. And so it would just stick to everything, fill wheel wells, and the trail looks pretty tame. But these little slopes and off cambers and ruts just really became big obstacles, as you'll see as we go on. So this is the FJ pulling the Teardrop, coming through the same section where you just saw the Ford Raptor, and my buddy Wheeler is driving my truck, and I'm filming. And I'm pretty pleased to say that the FJ in this section seemed to do just fine. Now, there were some later times where you see the tow strap on the front of the FJ there, because there's some later times where the Raptor was pulling the FJ out.
Pretty sweet. Looks good.
Now Aaron's Jeep navigates this section of trail pretty good as well. Although it sure squeaks a lot.
All right.
How hard it hits that creek. You can tell where other people have gone to the left. Oliver said, like, screw this. I'm going to the left. Flat. This is the stickiest mud I've ever seen. Look at that turd. Back up. I think just once through it would be fine. Windows. Actually,
Is this camp?
no. Although, it wouldn't be a bad spot.
It sure is pretty.
It smells like shit.
Right here we start to wonder momentarily what's happened to the rest of our convoy. And so we're chilling out here for a minute to let them catch up. Fortunately, this time they were still in tow, so, but stay tuned, it's about to get exciting. So if you'll notice, Wes's right rear wheel is off the ground. That's because his left front wheel has fell into a hole large enough for a hippopotamus. Now through the course of this drone footage, you're going to be asking yourself, why didn't they just drive around the mud hole on the right side? It seems so easy and so logical. Well, you'll notice a couple of times along the way that this is actually so off camber and so slick that as we walk around here in our flip-flops like a bunch of idiots, most of the time we're almost falling down. So just to the right of Wes's truck there, his Lexus GX470, I believe is what he had at the time. That section to the right is really, really steeply off camber. Oh, there comes Scout. He sees a perfect opportunity to bite somebody while they're distracted. So this is us trying to first push Wes out of this hole. And you'll see a little bit later why that wasn't working for us. The other thing I noticed and learned kind of in hindsight, and I've got the benefit of about 3 years now of reflecting on this day as to what worked and what didn't work, is you'll kind of gather from the drone footage that it takes us a little while to get organized around a real recovery. Everybody just jumps in, starts trying to help, going 4 different directions at once, and so we're a little disorganized. This drone shot here gives you a little bit of a perspective of how laid over Wes's truck is. It's almost laying on its side, on the left side. A little hard to get the full perspective there. The perspective you don't really get is how steep it is off the right side. And if you were to slide off the right side, then you're going a long ways. And now here's the Raptor again. This is Joe's Raptor. Again, this thing's sitting on 35-inch tires, and he's going to try to go around Wes on the right side. Watch this. See how well that's working for him? His front and his back are not tracking on the same plane there. And so you just could not, for whatever reason in this mud, put a vehicle where you wanted it to go. And so we end up, the Raptor tries a couple times to get around because we thought if we could get around him, we would hitch to him and be able to snatch him forward. So that was the first plan that we were going to try, is can we get around him some way and snatch him from the front. So we go down that path for a little while. Then we begin to realize that our only real path is somehow to be able to get Wes backwards and then maybe try to either get him forwards to the right without sliding off, or to get another vehicle past him and again try to snatch him forward. See Dunaway holding Ryan there to keep him from slipping down in the mud. That's kind of what I'm talking about. The other thing you'll notice is practically all of us, except Wheeler, are wearing flip-flops. So we're real smart and real prepared here. Now, again, I've got the benefit of hindsight of watching this drone footage and thinking about it for about 3 years. So this backwards recovery was fairly straightforward and easy. We're able to just kind of tug him back. The other thing that I've noticed in looking at this drone footage is several of us were standing way too close to that snatch strap when we were trying to pull him out. So then we shift into this mode of let's do some trail building. So Wheeler there has a small tree that he's taken up to drop into the mud hole. We're going to start to fill in the mud hole with tree and debris so that Wes can float on top of it. Now what's fascinating is that this hole literally just swallows that small tree. So this thing was really, really deep on the left-hand side here. And guys are contributing to this with various levels of effort, as you can see. We've got Wheeler carrying trees. We've got Ryan, he's got his own tree here that he's about to toss into the hole. And there he goes. Psh, nice. Wheeler just got covered. And here comes Gandalf down the mountain with his staff. You shall not pass. Now he's going to reposition everything. We got a few guys that show up to throw a twig into the hole. And Gandalf's realizing there that this hole is actually deep enough to bury a hippopotamus. So watch this. Here comes the truck. Going to drive on top of this log, except that the hole is so deep that the log's just going to disappear. And before you know it, Wes is back up on his frame. And there you go. We're right back to the spot that we started this little epic. So we end up right back almost where we started this little segment of the video, which is Wes is back in the hole on his frame. At least this time his rear passenger's not off the ground. And what's lost on us is how pretty this area is. This is where we end up at midnight. This is the next morning where we wake up from camp. And the area really was spectacular. It's ended up being one of my favorite days overall for a spot to camp and overland. And I want to go back and do this trail again. We were so disenchanted, though, at this time with the course that we put the drone up high and we flew it forward ahead just to try to get a sense of what the road conditions were like. This is the drone coming back to camp where you saw the aerial photos just a second ago. And about this time I start realizing in the drone that there's a bird that's trying to attack the drone. And you'll watch all the way back to the camp. You can see him buzzing the drone, trying to take it out of the air. So one of the lessons I learned about flying the drone out west is that there's certain birds of prey that really, really would like to take drones out of the air. I don't know if it's a territorial thing or the sound the drones make, but I start hauling butt in the drone. You saw him just zoom by right there. And this bird's just after me the whole way back. And so I'm trying to get the drone out of the air as quick as I can before the bird takes me out. And nice little overflight of camp coming back down. And we come in for a landing. But it really was a pretty section and a really nice place to camp. And again, in hindsight, with the benefit of perspective, there's scout out among a bunch of wildflowers. It was just a really pretty section of Colorado, and I can't wait to go back. So I hope you guys and girls have enjoyed the Hay Flat Rifle Creek Cow Camp adventure. You know, my reflection on this is that some adventures are like a nice wine or a scotch and that they get better with age. I really want to go back and do this trail again sometime. The adversity of it all really made the experience better, I think. Not everybody would agree that was part of the trip. because it was a pretty hard day and a lot of mud. But I think that made it better, and I think it ended up being one of the best days of our trip. Across multiple sections of Colorado simply because of the complexity and adversity. So I hope you guys like the content. If you do, please hit that thumbs up button down below. If you're not already a subscriber to the channel, I would invite you to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so that you get notifications of when we post new videos. We've been posting pretty frequently lately. And if you want to support the channel in another way, we have a website, store.bigsexybeast.com, where we've got some patches and stickers and soon some other type of logo wear. And we really appreciate you tuning in and watching. We hope this gives you something to do while we're all locked down in quarantine. And as always, thank you from bigsexybeast.com.